Welcome to TimSold Talks. Join us as we dive into all things real estate, talk about business, food, cars, and much more with industry experts. Dream it, believe it, achieve it. Welcome back to another episode of TimSold Talks. Very honored to have Princeton coach Chris Mongilia here to join us today for this episode. Thank you for coming on board. Thank you for coming on the show today, sir.
Absolutely, Tim. I'm excited to be here. Got the Toronto skyline in the background.
Gotta represent.
Gotta represent. Thanks for having me on.
Have you ever been to Toronto with all your kind of worldwide recruiting?
I have not. I was actually, when I was a Division III coach, we were supposed to go to take a trip to Toronto in the summer, and then I had gotten a new job, so I planned that whole trip, but never actually made it up there.
Oh no!
Up to one day though.
Yeah, you got to come. There's quite a few basketball talent here in our city now. So
booming now. That's a little bit with Toronto roots for sure.
Before we begin and dive into your talk about more of your experience and your history there, I do have to give a shout out to our sponsors. Hopefully you got a package. It's eatable popcorn here. One of the world's best, I think. They're local homegrown Canadian success story. They started during COVID, and it's amazing how fast they've grown. And they've actually, their claim to fame was they were actually in the Oscars and the goodie bags for all the celebrities to have. And now they go worldwide. They got locations here in Canada, US, and they ship worldwide. So I don't know what flavors did you get there?
I don't know. They sent me Pop the Salt Tequila.
Pop the Salt Tequila, yeah.
Poppin' Rosé all day.
Poppin' Rosé all day. So please feel free, open one up and give it a check and let us know what you think about it.
I love popcorn.
Yeah.
That is good.
I'll
tell you what, it's been sitting on my desk in my office for about 2 weeks, and I've been, I don't know how
you've been dying to open them up
until today.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the popcorn I had when I was a kid that used to come in that bin. They had like the different flavors. That's good.
Yeah, I know. Feel free to enjoy that. And there's a little TimSold promo code on there. So if you want to order more, always use that and you'll get additional discounts.
All right.
What would you rate this out of 10? What would you give that rating?
I'm not really a popcorn rating guy, but let's see. It's pretty good. Yeah. I think it's a solid 8.5. Yeah.
And you said you've been sitting there for 2 weeks, and it's still very crunchy and very fresh, right? Like, packaging really helps preserve that fresh and tastiness. So I'm
gonna try to put this away because I'll eat the whole bag right now on the podcast if I want to. Yeah.
Well, as we begin this kind of exploration to your journey, maybe you can give our audience a quick, brief introduction about yourself and where you came from and where you are and what you currently do for Princeton.
Sure. Yeah. I was born and raised in New Jersey, right outside the New York City. George Washington Bridge is about 7 or 8 miles from my house, where my parents still live and where I grew up.
Nice.
So all my experiences were in New Jersey. I went to college, a small school, William Patterson, up in northern New Jersey. Coached high school basketball for 4 years in Bergen County. So after that, got into coaching AAU basketball in Jersey. And, from there, got a Division III coaching opportunity to coach at Kane University, which is Division III school here in the state. And did that for 1 year, just through networking and hard work. Kind of got an opportunity to be the director of basketball operations at St. Peter's University, which is Division I program, Jersey City, and did that for 1 year, and still continued to network and make the right relationships. And from there, had an opportunity to come here to Princeton, and I've been here for 9 years, and I'm going into year 10.
Wow, a decade.
Great, and I know it's like you start to think about kind of how much you've grown up, not only as a kid, but getting into this business 10 years ago, a long time just to be at Princeton. And obviously we've had a terrific experience here, and had a lot of success and had a lot of great moments, and the people here are really great. So that's the quick timeline of my progression. But a little bit more about me really is like both my parents were teachers. Was a middle school basic skills and math teacher. My dad was a middle school science teacher. Even my aunt was a high school math teacher. So really kind of DNA
teaching,
of me was in teaching
Yeah.
and impacting lives. And furthermore, my dad was a high school football coach for 30 years. My aunt was a high school softball coach. So like
Okay, it's in the blood. Yeah.
Teaching and coaching was me, and really thought that's what I was going to do. I thought I was going to be a teacher, and I thought I was going to be a high school basketball coach. And I coached in high school for 4 years. I had a great opportunity to work at Riverdale High School, which was, kind of down the road from where I grew up.
Yeah.
And was a middle school coach there, and had my own team and had a great group of guys, and really just fell in love with coaching even more so than I thought. And the head coach at the time really gave me a lot of freedom to explore and implement things and do things extra that were not ordinary for a middle school or a freshman basketball coach to be doing. It really gave me a great benefit to just like really get opportunity and explore my curiosities and stuff like that. And that really made me want to just more from basketball, and wanted to see like, hey, what else could I do here? Where could I take this? When you're growing up, I always wanted to be a college coach.
Oh, really? Okay.
But you just never think like, why it's not possible for you, you know? It's interesting. Like I read a book one time that talked about how sometimes when you can see someone that you can relate to or is similar to you, it makes you think that something's possible. And oddly enough, I grew up in a small town. It's 1 square mile town in New Jersey, and on my block up the street, could be there in about a minute, was someone named Tim Sweeney, and his sister was in my grade, and we were classmates. And then he was about, gosh, I don't even know, maybe 6 or 7 years older than me, and he was like the best basketball player in the town. And he was dribbling up and down the streets with 2 basketballs, and you'd hear the ball bouncing. I'd go to my window and there'd be Tim Sweeney. So he was a little bit of a role model when I was growing up, just as a youth, wanting to be a good basketball player. And then he went on to coach at Davidson, and he was there when Steph Curry was there.
Oh, wow.
I got to see him in the NCAA tournament. I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's Tim Sweeney. Like I know him and this and that. And that was kind of someone for me that I was like, well, if he lived on Ranger Road, he's just like me.
Yeah.
I always held on to that like that was someone that I thought, well, if he could do it, I could do it. And I interviewed for my alma mater high school when I was like 26 years old, I think, somewhere around there. And that was my dream growing up. I was like, my high school at the time, like we were not very good at basketball. And my dream was like, I'm just going to graduate, be a teacher, and I'm going to make like Dumont basketball, like really, really good. So I had an interview when I think I was 26. And I literally told my parents, I said, like, hey, I'm going to interview for the Dumont job. And if I don't get it, I'm going to coach in college. And that's what happened. I didn't get the job. I think they probably thought I was a little too young for the gig. And then I just turned all my energies towards trying to coach in college and network from there. So long story. We could pick up the whole time talking about that. So
no, that's it's a fascinating story. And maybe for some of our audience that don't know, like, what does it take to get into coaching? Like, is there special like education or certification or experience? Like, what helps you get that first kind of interview and showcase and demonstrate your experiences?
Yeah, I mean, Tim, this podcast could be solely dedicated to interviewing college coaches, and they would tell you all different stories. Everyone would have a different path, what has worked for them. I think some would, not the easiest way, but one of the not surefire ways, but a way to get contacts is to be a manager. Like, so if you could be a manager coming out of high school, you go to a college and you're a manager for a team. That's a good way to learn the ropes. All the coaches will give you experience working in the office. You'll be in meetings. You'll get video responsibilities, practice responsibilities. And I didn't know about that when I was in high school. I probably would have done that. I probably would have gone and tried to be a manager at a school. And a lot of people that I know in the business had done that route. So good friends of mine were managers at Rutgers. And that, their coaching staff prepared them for what it's like to be a college coach. And then when they graduated, they went to Division III schools and got their feet wet, and then just kind of climbed the ladder. Some of them are Division III head coaches now. Some of them are associate head coaches at Division I. Like they've gone on. So that's a popular way to do it. Obviously, playing in college is super helpful.
Yeah.
I did neither of those. I made it really hard on myself and I paid
Still
my
beat
own
the
way.
odds. Yeah.
But I mean, I worked really hard, but I got really lucky. I had a lot of fortunate breaks in my career. Some would say I earned them, right, by doing the right thing and being the right type of person. But I coached high school basketball, and then I coached AAU. I got an AAU coaching job through Brett McConnell, who was a coach here for a long time, and now he's at Stanford. Him and I developed a relationship when I was coaching high school basketball, and he didn't really know me at all, and just linked me up with an AAU program and got me a 16U head coaching job. And I coached for 2 years in that program. And in year one, the 17U head coach was a Division III head coach in the state. And that's where I wound up going to work. So just working with him, right place, right time, right work ethic. You know, he gave me the opportunity and kind of broke me into the business. So I owe a lot to Brett for getting me that AAU job, but also for Rob, who was the head coach at Kane, for, you know, taking a risk on some high school coach who thought he knew everything about basketball, but really didn't know much.
I mean, that's quite a unique perspective, because you coached like high school, AAU, and now you're D1 at Princeton, right? So, you know, various D1 schools there. What would you say the biggest difference is, and kind of like, you know, that's kind of shaped you and developed you as a coach?
You mean by like all the
from
different
like high
levels
school,
that I've been at?
From high school to AAU, because obviously there's, for the audience that don't know, there's quite a distinct differences between those three levels, right?
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic question. I think some people will be like, oh man, Chris, if you had just been a manager, maybe you could have you've climbed faster, or maybe you would be here, or maybe you would know this person. But like, I wouldn't change anything about the way I did things. I think coaching in middle school and high school really gave me an advantage that other people didn't have. You know, I was running my own practices. I had to develop my own strategies. I got to experience and create and be curious and experiment and do things wrong, and like no one cared. So the ability to do that without pressure, I think, gave me a lot of perspective, which was really important in my career. And even like, there's times on our staff here where we'll be in practice and they'll be like, hey, like, Chris, come here, like, tell me, how do we turn this over? Where do the lines go? What's the rotation and this and that? Like, that's what I was really good at. You know, I went to school to be a phys ed teacher. So like, that's what they taught you: time on task. How can you make everything flow, and how can you have everybody participate as much as possible? But for me, when I coached in high school and middle school, like that, you have no choice but to do that. And you got to do everything. So I thought that was a really big advantage for me. And then coaching Division III, there's not as many coaches at that level. And, you know, usually at most schools, there's one full-time coach, and then there's like a couple part-time coaches. There's some volunteers. So you have to do everything. And when I got to Kane, I thought that I knew a lot about basketball, and that they taught me how much I didn't know. So Rob was the head coach. Tom Wagenblast was the associate head coach. And it was like basketball 101, coaching college basketball 101. They taught me how to recruit. They taught me how to be right based on film. They taught me how to not speak based on emotion after a loss, and really speak based on fact after you watch the film. Which I thought, you know, you watch a sports movie and there's always like that post-game talk that the coach gives. And, you know, it really, like, what are you really saying? What do you really know as a fact? What, like, maybe you can say a couple things, but there's been a lot of times I've felt something after a game, and then you go back and watch the film and you're like, oh, that's not even how it went at all. You know, it was this person's mistake or that person's mistake. And I learned a lot about that, how to coach college basketball, from Rob during that 1 year that I was with him. And then to be able to go to St. Peter's, where St. Peter's was like a low resource Division I program when I was there. And, you know, John Dunn was the head coach, and Matt Henry was an assistant coach, and like Serge Clement, like those are all guys that are really successful in the business. And I just learned a ton from them going from Division 3 to Division 1. And they taught me how to squeeze juice out of a lemon that had no juice left. Like how they operated there should really be studied. And John is a fantastic head coach, and Matt Henry taught me a ton about how to be an assistant, right? Like Matt Henry is still an assistant. He's at Virginia now. And he's been an assistant for years and years and years. And I'm waiting for him to become a head coach, because I think that opportunity is coming his way soon, but taught me how to support a head coach and how to make sure that you're doing everything so that he can maximize his time and maximize his knowledge. So I learned a lot from those guys. And then it just gave me the opportunity to come here to Princeton and just be ready for this job. And here it's been, I've done so much here. Like and Mitch has given me so much leeway and freedom to grow the role and to touch areas that, he could never have dreamed of, his director of operations, branching into.
Sorry, maybe you can expand on that. What is your current role at Princeton, and what avenues or what areas do you touch for the team and help operate?
I mean, I'll try to go quick through this. I think my biggest role here is making sure that the players are like focused on what they need to focus on, whether that I can impact them through leadership and character development, whether I can make sure that they have the right resources if they need help in school or help with something in their dorm. Trying to make sure that the players are happy here and that they're thriving here and that they're taken care of. That their parents are happy, that they know that they're in a safe space, and that if they need anything, that they can call me at any time. I think that's probably my biggest role. But really, like, making sure the program is operating at a high level, making sure that everyone has the information that they need, communicating to all facets of the program. And when I say that, I'm talking, we have 16 players, we have 5 coaches other than myself on the staff. We have a strength coach, a communications head. We have strength coach. We have an athletic trainer. And then there's all these departments here, right? We have the external department, the business office. There's people that make up Princeton basketball, and I'm probably the focal point and touch point for all those people.
You're the glue that holds everyone together.
I don't know if I'm the glue, but I'm definitely
You're part of that. You're part of it.
That my role is important here, and I know that, and Mitch knows that and does a good job of making sure that, he gives me the freedom to do all these things and the trust. At this point, like, I laugh sometimes. Mitch he'll ask me, hey, we gotta do this or do that, and I'm like, it's done already. And he's like, I don't know why I ask or like say anything anymore, because it's just, I learned, I know what he wants, I know what the program needs, and I know when it has to get done. I'm not perfect, I make mistakes all the time, but for the most part, I don't really have to bother him with things anymore at this point. I kind of know, how he would want things done. So it's a good setup here. And I know all the alums at this point know who I am. I know who they are. So they know how to get in touch with me and make sure that this is, we can focus on basketball. That's what the coaches do. And they know that I can take care of everything else here. So. Yeah.
Excellent. So, obviously a decade there. What have been some of the, highest highs and lowest lows, I guess, throughout this journey that you've been working at Princeton then?
Yeah. Obviously, when you say highest high, Sweet 16 comes right to mind. That was probably I hope it's not the peak. Maybe there'll be some better times, but it feels like one of the best moments that I'll experience professionally. I feel pretty confident, like, unless we go to a Final Four or win a national championship, doing the Sweet 16 for the first time and experiencing what that was like for the community, for our players, for our program, for our coaching staff, right? Like that, what's that phrase? Rome wasn't built in a day, right? Like that didn't happen just that season. That was years and years of, focus in recruiting, focus on player development, focus on having the right type of kids in our program, the right type of coaches in our program. That we were operating at an unbelievably high level that season. and it was the perfect storm. We had the right seniors that year. We had the right role players that year. Everything was really good. So seeing all that come together and then experiencing March Madness on that level was unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's obviously the going to the tournament's the best. We went in 2017. We went in 2023. Always trying to get back there and experience March Madness. But really, like, the relationships with the players that I've developed here has been kind of the best thing for me. And just knowing the value that I had for those people and for those players. Like, I'm still in group chats with players that graduated like 4 or 5 years ago where we talk all the time.
Yeah.
Princeton has this thing called Princeton Reunions, which is like, that's a whole nother podcast. 25,000 alums come back to campus every year for Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
And, every sport here has kind of like their own reunion, and every, department has their own reunion, but everybody comes back. Everyone can't wait to see you. Everyone can't wait to catch up. It's a special type of place. And that's really like, that's what keeps you here for a decade is the fact that the people that work here, the people that, we get to recruit here are high level individuals. And that's like, that's what Princeton is. And that's like, in a nutshell, kind of the highest of highs is that for me. The low moments, they're learning opportunities, in my opinion. Like, we've had, as anyone that goes through life, like, you're going to have your ups and you're going to have your downs. And sometimes people say to me, like, how come this doesn't affect you more? And I'm just like, I don't know. I can't tell you. I wish I could, because I'd probably be able to make a lot of money writing a book. But I think I do a good job of staying where my feet are and worrying about what I can control. And, I try to do the right thing. And that gives me a lot of peace, is that, I'm not doing anything that's too selfish or morally incorrect. I think if you do the right thing and be the right type of person, I think good things come your way. And this too shall pass is something that I always think about. Even if things are going good, this too shall pass.
Yeah. You never stay high on it's a roller coaster of emotions throughout life, right? So yeah. And you just talked about the Sweet 16, some of the players there. Your experience as someone who's gone, developed them and kind of coached them up from, I guess, when they're freshmen to their senior year. What are the biggest changes you see in players that make it to that next level after they graduate, or how they succeed in that such a rigorous program?
Playing professionally.
Yep.
Great question. There's a lot of factors. I can't hit on one.
Yeah.
The first one that comes to mind is probably belief. I think if you don't believe you can do it, you have no shot. You have no chance to do it.
Yeah.
That's probably number one. I guess now I'm ranking them since I said number one. I would probably say number two is some combination of dedication and desire.
Dedication, like internal, like motivation.
I think you have to really want it to do that. I think, I'm going to drop a lot of catchphrases here, but if it was easy, everybody would do it, kind of a thing like that.
Yeah.
Not easy. So you have to be dedicated and you have to have a desire to do it. I think there's sort of a combination of that. And don't get it twisted. You have to have skill, right? Like, to have some sort of mixture of all those things. I'm sure I'm leaving some things out, but I would probably say those are the top things. And I'm just thinking of guys in my head that came here and have been super successful. Tosan, obviously playing on the Brooklyn Nets right now, is one. Devin Kennedy had some stints in the NBA and in the G League, and now he's playing over in Greece. He possessed all of those things that I said. We've had so many alums that have gone on to play professionally, whether that's 3-on-3 now is blowing up, right? Jerome DeRosier is a fellow Canadian. He's just climbing the ranks and being nationally ranked on the 3-on-3 circuit. And that's, skill, belief, desire, dedication. I think those are all things for sure that can help you get to the next level.
And obviously they went through your program. So like, what does, Princeton contribute to that development as well? Like, how do you guys specifically mold and shape and, support them as they kind of, flourish in their careers?
Yeah, I think we're trying, hopefully, to recruit the right type of kids. I think every coach you can ask, like, oh, what kind of kids are you recruiting? They'll say, we want to recruit, good kids. We want to recruit people who are going to do the right thing. We want to recruit hard workers and people that play hard. Like everyone's going to say that.
Yeah.
I think we're very selective in that process. I think we want team guys. We want people that want their friends to have success just as much as they want to have success. And I think that makes a good team culture. It's really hard to do these days with NIL and all the changes of the landscape of college basketball, but we're doing our best to stay true to that model. So I think that's super important, and that's the foundation of what we do here and how we develop them. Because if you recruit a kid who doesn't want to do all those things that you're asking them to do, that's going to be really hard to develop them. But I think the best thing that we do here is we probably give the players autonomy. I think we don't ask them to run plays. We don't ask them to necessarily peg themselves into a role. We want our bigs to dribble, pass, and shoot, just like we want our guards to dribble, pass, and shoot. We want our guards to rebound, just like we want our bigs to rebound. So it's almost like we're not going to ask a point guard to do something that we're not going to ask the big to do. I think that they like that. I think that the bigs like that we want them to shoot and dribble and pass. I think that makes them feel like, everybody wants to be a guard, right? Everybody that gets a basketball walks to the three-point line right now and free like Steph Curry.
Changing the game right now.
Everybody's doing that. So I think we let our players play and we teach them how to play basketball. I talked about reunions earlier. They do like a little pickup game for reunions.
Okay.
There's like 40 or 45 and 50-year-olds out there playing. And they're playing with like recent college grads that are, 23 and 25 and 26 and whatever they are. And it looks the same. They all play the same way. They all know how to play with each other. There's no plays being run. They know how to cut if someone's overplaying them. They know how to come around if they're not getting. That's just Princeton basketball. We teach guys to play basketball the right way. And that's that helps them develop to play at the next level.
No, it's great. It's kind of like the basketball IQ you're installing, right? It's not just about being robotic, set plays, and just being very kind of like old fashioned that way. Now it's like more fluid game, a lot of fast offense, motion, offensive plays now. So. One thing you did touch on, I kind of want to you're kind of very interesting position because your past 10 years, you've kind of seen the transition. You mentioned NIL, so the NIL kind of a recruitment allowance now, I guess. Obviously you were coaching before that, and now you're kind of coaching through it, and now you're coaching post it. So what's the biggest differences you see in terms of that impacting the game and funding for the programs?
Yeah, it's a sore subject, right? NIL for any college coach, it's like the thorn in our side. I think that NIL is not all bad. I think the shift is, I just saw a post before I came down here on Instagram about the players era. It's like a tournament that they have now. And I think it's interesting that is probably the era that we're in. We're in like the players era of college basketball where the focus is more so on them. I still think that there's big name coaches, right, in college basketball. When I was growing up, I think that was more of the focus, right? I think the focus was on like
the Coach
K and Roy Wilson and Dean Smith and like Jim Boeheim, and like those were the big names, and big name coaches still exist. Don't get me wrong, but I think that was more of the storyline and that was more of the through line. And I think now it's just very players focused. I think it's a good thing if they can figure out how to rein it in a little bit. It should be more about the players. But I think what's missing right now is the fans are suffering a little bit because they're not necessarily getting to follow a player for 4 years anymore. They're not getting to, when I grew up, I was a diehard North Carolina fan when I was growing up. Everything North Carolina basketball was me. I used to, before there was ESPN Plus, I had ESPN Full Court at my house, which allowed me to watch all those games. Throwback to anybody who knows what listening. But my favorite players were Tyler Hansborough, 4-year guy. Then there was like really throwback is like Ed Cota was my first favorite player growing up. He was a guard from North Carolina. But those fans back then used to get to see those kids play for at least usually 3 years. and maybe they would early enter after the third year.
Yeah.
But I just think that that's missing right now a little bit. I think the pageantry of college basketball is suffering.
Mm-hmm.
I think the dollar amounts of college basketball is thriving, right? Like,
Yeah.
I want to rein in the NIL and get it regulated as much as possible, but I also don't think the players should really. They should get
paid for.
not reimbursed, but like they should get their worth, right? Like their March Madness it funds all of these college championships, right? Like the amount of money that gets made, and everybody wants NIL to get adjusted, but we just had like the best Final Four in the history of the Final Four last year.
Yeah,
they had these unbelievably metric based top four of the best teams that have ever been in the Final Four, and we had fantastic games. Like, I don't know if anybody who thinks that college basketball is broken, like they just had an amazing Final Four, and like I don't know that that's going to help anybody rein in the NIL, but they're trying. I think for me, what I've seen, probably haven't done a good job of answering your question. I just think that the players are a little bit more focused on their worth and their self more so when I first got here. I think it was more about the team. I think we have a good. Hopefully, the Ivy League is a little insulated. That people want the degree. Now, everybody in the league now has had a transfer, so we're not completely immune to it. But I still think that in the Ivy League, players are coming to Princeton, to Harvard, to Yale, to Penn, like all these schools. I think they're still coming here because they value their teammates and they value the education. That they're So hopefully, back on this podcast in a couple of years, and I stand correct. But it's changing every year, so who knows?
Yeah, no, because the Ivy Leagues offer something distinctly different from the rest of the schools out there, right? So with the history, the prestige, the education, and you're speaking about the alumni, that whole community, of family, kind of built around that, the core principles of what you guys firmly want to instill. So that still is a big draw for, I'm sure, for a lot of talent out there. So.
Definitely.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the recruiting process, what does, Princeton really look for in future kind of recruits? And, for the audience out there that are interested, like, what's the best kind of advice you can give them if they want to get on your radar?
Yeah. Make a lot of shots.
Make a lot of shots. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many things that we look for. Like we want, first and foremost, we want someone that wants to be here, and sees the value of Princeton. Yeah. And those are the players that have the most success here, that really have like thrived in the classroom and thrived on the court, right? Like Tosan was close to a Rhodes Scholar. Like he was, when I found out what his GPA was, I was like, what? What? Now, I mean, he was like at Princeton, he was the best player in the league for 2 years. I might get in trouble saying this publicly. Arguably, probably one of the best players to ever play at Princeton. And he didn't get to play his fourth year. He lost it to COVID. Like if he had played 4 years, he would have been, tops in scoring. He's already like tops in assists, and he only played really like 2.5 years of basketball. But to see his GPA and at one of the hardest schools in the country, I'm just like, how did you do both? But that's he wanted that, and
that's his work ethic.
Experience. All the great players that have played here have been like really super focused on squeezing the lemon. Right, the second time I've done that on this podcast. Really just getting the most out of this place and the most out of this experience. So I think people that want to be here, that's a good start. I think to come to Princeton, we want players that are good teammates. A lot of, if anybody's listening that wants to go and play college basketball, we value the in-person evaluation a lot. I can think of a story. A couple of years ago, we were recruiting a kid that a lot of people externally were telling us that we needed to take. He wants to come to Princeton. And there was just a couple red flags for him. And we like really, really had the microscope on him in the recruiting process. And we would go to see him play. And when we would watch him live, he was really disengaged on the bench. He would not look at his coach in the huddle and would be like, his whole team would be huddled up. And then he would be to the side, like kind of looking into the stands. And and was a little bit too much about himself. And we didn't take his commitment. Right. And people were like, oh, what? Like, what are you doing? This and that.
Yeah.
And, you know, we wound up taking Xavier Lee instead. And that worked out pretty well. You know, like,
yeah.
we
Canadian
stuck to
success.
our values and took a player that wanted to be here, that was the right kind of teammate, that obviously was super talented. So like that is really important to us, is like we're not going to take a kid that is really good and talented just because, you know, people think that we should take him, or just because, you know, his ranking is whatever it is. I think being the right type of a teammate and playing really hard and being coachable is super important. And then all the things I said earlier, right? Like we're asking our guards to rebound. So we try to recruit bigger guards, but doesn't mean we won't take someone who's smaller. I think we want bigs that can pass, dribble, and shoot. Doesn't mean we won't take a big that can't do one of those two things, but those are the things that we really value here, is being versatile and being able to do a lot of things. But shooting, I joked at the beginning of this answer, but making shots is
right? Yeah,
that's a premium here.
From all areas of the court, right? Not just the 3-point line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, make layups too.
Yeah. No, since you brought up Xavier Lee, obviously, you know, big Canadian success story for us, especially being in the Asian community. You know, can you talk about, you know, some of that experience and interaction with him, and how you kind of coached in 3 years he was there, right? I believe.
Yeah. 3 years, Xavier. Nothing but great things to say about him. Really enjoyed getting to know him, and the relationship that we have is still strong. Actually texted him a couple days ago and just checked in. And you know, I think seeing his development was interesting. Like, you know, came here, he's super young for his grade. Like, he actually could have done a post grad and been a freshman when he really was a sophomore. So that year that he blew up was his sophomore year.
Yeah.
He technically could have been a freshman. We asked him to come to school earlier. Like, he was set to do a post grad, and we're like, we don't need it. We want you right now.
Nice.
But so like he was raw, and he really didn't go through the recruiting process, because he thought he was playing 16U when we asked him to come to Princeton.
Wow. Okay.
Because he wasn't really playing 17U.
Yeah.
So maybe a little bit of a steal on Princeton's part that we were able to do that.
Yeah.
But he didn't really have a lot of offers. He came here to Princeton, and his freshman year was our Sweet 16 year, where obviously we had a really good team.
Okay.
He was probably the 8th man on that team, 8th or 9th guy.
Yeah.
And had valuable minutes and contributed to winning, and obviously was a part of that team, but really didn't get a lot of playing time in March Madness. Which is like hilarious to think about. You know, I don't know, 6 months later, he like was exploding.
Yeah.
You know, scoring 30 points in games, and you know,
that unlocks something, I guess, that experience.
Yeah, I mean, he had great leadership as a freshman from the upperclassmen, and then, you know, his sophomore year, like we gave him the keys, and his ability just flourished. He's someone that possesses the things I said earlier, right? About, you know, having the desire and having the dedication. Like that for sure was Xavier, and he really wanted to be good, and he believed he could be good. So his development was great to be a part of. And I think for him, his focus on the next level has been there for a long time. Like, he wants to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
And he centered his life around getting there, right? Like, he made sacrifices, his work ethic, like he was in the gym all the time. And I talked about Tosan earlier. Xavier, his GPA is unbelievable too. Like, he's an unreal student.
Yeah.
So like, this is someone that is like a phenomenal person. And you know, was fortunate to get to know him and be in touch with him all the time. So
yeah, you guys, it's a lifelong bond you guys have made, right? So
absolutely.
Speaking of, you know, recruiting and Canadians, it seems like the program really values diversity and you know, international players. With, I think Tosan is from the UK, I believe, right? Yeah,
Tosan's from the UK.
Tosan, and you guys have a very diverse recruiting kind of like program. Where else do you guys usually kind of pick programs from, or pick players from, or how do you guys get involved with the recruiting there?
Now, I don't know that we will say we need a kid from here. I think we have contacts all over the country and sometimes all over the world.
Yeah.
And whenever we follow a lead, if it follows up to be someone that we think, qualifies for Princeton or is good enough to come to Princeton, then we follow through on it.
Yeah.
At one point I was here, I thought we had, early in my career, I think we had like players from 11 states on our roster, which was like, we were all over the place. We had someone from Washington. We had someone from Florida. We had someone from California. We had someone from Chicago. Like, it was all over,
Yeah.
Right now we have an influx of Chicago guys on our team. I think we have, I don't even know. Last year, I think we had 5. This year, I think maybe it's only 4, but that's like, we'd like to recruit that area. I don't know. There's a lot of Princeton alums there. Also good basketball there. Like there's good basketball, and Canada has really taken off in terms of their focus on basketball and their success on basketball. Right, they've had some success on the national level now.
Yeah,
and we've had really good Canadians here. Right, like Jerome DeRosier was a Canadian. Jalen Llewellyn, right, incoming guy. Jacob Hammond, Canadian.
Jacob,
obviously, you said Xavier was Canadian, so we've had a lot of success with those guys. Those were all contributors here for our program, and success with Tosan from Newcastle, England. So we don't really discriminate. If you can make shots and play Princeton basketball, and you can,
everyone's got a chance. Yeah.
We're not going to pick one area to focus on.
Yeah. No, that's great to hear. And, we brought in your recruiting pool that gives us just more diversity of players that come through and experiences too, right? So looking ahead, what are some of your long-term goals for the program? I know we're running out of time soon. So, we'll wrap up.
Summertime.
Yeah.
Long-term goals, I mean, the goal for us is always to win the league at Princeton, right? We have 30 Ivy League titles, which is the most in the league. It's a storied program. You walk into the gym, you can't help but look up and see all the banners that hang above the court.
Yeah.
So that's always the standard. For years it was win the league and you go to the NCAA tournament. Now the Ivy tournament changes that. So we still want to win the league. We still want to be the best team in the league, but we want to win the Ivy tournament. So a lot of our focus is to be playing our best basketball in March, right? Like, we want to win non-conference games more than anybody. We like getting to play high majors when we can beat them, and that's what we want to do. But the focus for us will really be, how can we have our guys, not just playing our best basketball in March, but how can we get rolling in January when league play starts? So that's really the short-term goal. But long-term goal, it's kind of a bunch of short-term goals, really. Like we want to win the league every year, and we want to try to go to March Madness. And that's really that's our focus, and we want to continue to recruit, great basketball players, but great humans, great families. I think that really matters. We have great parents in our program. That helps us have great players. So those are our long-term focuses, but really they're just a bunch of short-term ones that kind of make progress for us.
And it sounds like you're continuously building into the basketball community there at Princeton. So
absolutely.
So final question I have for you is, what kind of advice would you give to aspiring coaches that kind of want to get to where you are right now? Maybe they're just graduating or they're still fresh in their careers. What's the one word advice or one kind of, golden nugget you can leave with them?
Oof. Oh man, that's like you're asking me to take 15 years of experience and put into one. I think the biggest thing for me, and I can only speak to my experience, and like I said earlier, you could have 100 guests on this podcast and they would all tell you different things that they've experienced. But I think from my perspective, I think developing the right type of relationships in the business is super important. There's, like in any profession, there's a lot of fluff, I would call it, in terms of people that are trying to network. Like everyone's you go to a networking event, and it's like, how many numbers can you get, right? The Final Four every year is a coaches convention. The NABC puts on a coaches convention, and I don't even know the number, but I'm guessing that 5,000 coaches from across the country go.
Okay.
That might be a little high. I'm not sure.
Okay.
But I mean, Division One coaches, Division Two, Division Three, NAIA, JUCO, high school coaches, like anyone that belongs to the NABC comes to the convention, and it's like a huge networking event. Yeah. And I remember when I was like younger, there was like a bunch of not kids, but like a bunch of guys my age that were like trying to make a name for themselves, and they would go around, and that's back when business cards were like popular. And they would be like, "Oh man, I've collected 25 business cards," but I was like, I never was about that. I was just about like, I'm going to have a real relationship with someone. And that fortunately worked out for me, where the people that I invested in were the ones that were able to help me. And I think if you can invest in really good relationships and be in circles where those people want to take care of you, that can expedite your career more so than anything else, because the more people that, when something opens up, that you're at the top of their list of like, hey, let me see if this person's interested. I've been fortunate enough at this point in my career to be able to put people in some positions because I've been able to talk to someone that had an opening that I was like, or they call me and say, hey, like, I have this opening. Do you know a guy? Do you know someone that might be a good fit for this role? So if somebody does that to me and I have good relationships with someone, right? Like if someone invested in me and I invested in them, like that can really help you. I think it's a dying breed of people that just want to do the right thing and like do the right thing, say the right thing, be the right person. I think I don't know if I believe in karma, but I believe in like what goes around comes around. Like if you take care of yourself and you do the right thing and act the right way, I think good things will happen to you. And I think that makes people want to take care of you a little bit more. So I think that would be my advice. And if you're an aspiring coach, I would work as many basketball camps as you could possibly work. At the Division I level, if that's the level you want to get to, everybody has them in the summertime. That's what I did. I worked Rutgers camp when I was coming up. I worked the Hoop Group Elite camp when I was coming up. Princeton camp when I was coming up. So that's just it's a good way to meet people. It's so funny to look back now. Like when I was working the Hoop Group camp, I was working with people that are head coaches now at the Division III level, or high level assistant coaches at the Division I level, because now like they were all doing what we all wanted to do. We were just trying to learn and get our name out there. So you meet a lot of people doing that, and I think that you get a lot of experience. So those are a couple things I think I would probably lean into for aspiring coaches.
Yeah, no, thank you for sharing that, because that's, I think, your own personal success story that kind of resonates with a lot of aspiring coaches out there that don't know what to do. And like you said, that, if you knew this, you would have done, maybe something a little bit different, or, gone to the right rooms and right opportunities open themselves when you treat yourself, treat everyone with respect and, right dignity and do right with others. So, kudos for that.
Yeah, I think if I could say one more thing, I was thinking about this a couple days ago, but like, I think your perspective just changes, right? Like I think things happen in your life and you can change your perspective, and that will shift your focus for like what you're going to think is important. And I think when I was younger, my focus was on like coming up in the profession, and like I did everything I could to present myself with as many opportunities as I possibly could. And I think that would be, if I could go to that stage in my life, that's what worked for me. Now, if you like, I'm not interested in working any basketball camps anymore. Like I would never do that now. But I think a mistake that some people make is that there's a little bit more of an entitlement. I think in this, not like this society, current like state of society, not just in basketball, but I think there's like, people think that they're like really entitled to things. If I did this, so I should get, if I did X, I should get Y. But it doesn't always go that way. Like I think there's a little bit of sweat equity that's necessary. Like you have to put in some time. You have to do something that might feel unnecessary. You might have to deal with someone that is hard on you. When I look back, all the people that were really hard on me taught me a valuable lesson. And whether that was it the wrong lesson? Like, were they just a bad person and they were really hard on me? And like, I learned like, okay, I never want to be like that when I get into a position where I'm leading someone. Or did someone that was really hard on me just teach me discipline and make me super efficient?
You grit, right? Push through it.
So like, I think that an aspiring coach should know that like everybody wants to be a college coach. You know, not everybody, but like a lot of people do. So like you're fighting upstream. There's 10,000 fish that are trying to do the same thing that you're doing. So you just have to be willing to put in some extra work and understand that it's not always going to be like that. You're not always going to have to, there's going to be a shift in your perspective at some point in your career where it won't always be like that.
No. Words of advice. Thank you, Coach Chris. There's two questions we kind of always ask just as we end up our podcast. The first one is, what is the one feature you'd like, shifting focus now, what's the one feature you'd like to find in your dream house?
One feature that, this is like the real estate side of the podcast. One feature that I would like to have in my dream house. Oh man, my wife is probably going to watch this. I'd probably say, what does she want?
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
That's the right answer.
Yeah. Sweetheart, what would you like in your dream house? Gosh, I'm trying to think of something good, but when I was a kid, I always used to joke that I wanted a pillow room.
A pillow room?
And like just a room that overlooks like an ocean.
Yeah.
Or like a body of water, and it's just like all glass, and then it's just a bunch of pillows. I just think pillows are super comfortable. It's probably a really weird answer, but like that's what I was thinking. Just something that's like a relaxing
serenity
kind of space. But the real answer, Tim, is probably like a personal Chipotle chef, maybe in my kitchen. That's nice. If I could just have that set up at all times, that'd probably be my dream. Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads into my next question is, what's the one type of food you could eat for the rest of your life?
Oh, boy. Yeah. Did I just give that away?
Yeah.
My wife makes an amazing chicken tinga, and she jokes that like I'm going to get tired of it. But I mean, she's been making it for years now. Yeah. This morning, I just asked her, I'm like, when can we get some chicken tinga in the house? So I think, I honestly think I could eat my wife's chicken tinga for the rest of my life. Maybe some, some macaroni. I'm Italian, so the pasta and gravy and meat sauce, whatever you guys want to call it.
Yeah.
I'd probably be good with that for the rest of my life too. I love food. I love food. I could go on a food podcast. Buffalo wings. I love buffalo wings. I don't know.
Okay. We'll have to
come on.
Yeah. We'll have to do a follow-up podcast with you for that then. So, thank you very much. This pretty much wraps up this week's episode of TimSold Talks. Thank you, Coach Chris, for coming on and sharing your wonderful experience and, sharing what Princeton basketball is all about. And, if our audience wants to reach out to you, what's the best way they can get in touch with you and kind of reach out and get your contacts? What's the best way?
I mean, my email's on the website.
Okay.
At goprincetontigers.com. You find me under the men's basketball staff.
Yep.
My email is just my last name at princeton.edu. So Mongilia at princeton.edu.
Yep.
Reach out. Maybe throw TimSold Talks podcast in the subject line so it catches my eye. I honestly get a lot of people that reach out that are looking for advice, and I try to respond to as many of them as I possibly can.
Yeah. No, thank you for doing that. And if you enjoyed today's episode and you're looking to buy, sell, and invest real estate, you know who to call. But if you're looking for more coaching advice, looking to get into Princeton or get some more food advice from Coach Chris, you know who to reach out there. Thank you very much for following us, and give us a 5-star review, help the algorithm, help promote, TimSold Talks. And remember, guys, dream it, believe it, achieve it. It's a wonderful day to sell homes. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for Coach Chris for coming on and sharing your experiences.
Thanks for having me, Tim.
Hi, I'm Tim Kern, and I proudly lead the TimSold team. We're voted as one of the top 3 brokerages in Markham, and we will sell your house fast and for top dollar with the least amount of hassle, or we guarantee to buy it. Call us today and start packing.